Testing. All right. I think we're going. I think we're going. And sorry, guys. Show's supposed to start at 9, but I have. Ah, jeez. Uh, okay. A bunch of crap is just dropping on my head right now. So let me try to figure out how to be an adult real quick. If anyone's any gonna watch this, pop out chat. Bada bang, bada boom. Make it narrow. Hopefully someone joins. I believe I sent out my newsletter today. All right, Bitcoin's actually looking not super horrible. Okay. All right. Uh, okay. All right. Man, being a grown up is a lot sometimes. Not all the time. Oftentimes it's pretty good, but sometimes it's a lot. This morning, it's a lot. Got big foundation cracks in my house. Trying to think of the best way to film without spending 10 grand, which is what I was quoted, because fuck that. And on top of that, I got to apparently have to go see a movie in 52 minutes. And on top of that, I have to go pick up my friend's kid. And I just started laundry. And I have a family Easter thing at 1. Yeah, it's been a day. It will all work out hodl. Well, with crypto, great gazoo, yeah, crypto is actually holding up really, really well considering what's happening in the traditional financial markets. Um, so 86,053, I think, is our little threshold here. We had one about a week or so ago, 81,156. That was broken, retested, and came right back. So, and now we have some stability. Yeah, happy Easter, English. Happy Easter, bud. So we're not doing too bad here. We've it's been a little choppy a couple days ago. It's tightened up. Obviously, it's the weekend, so that's going to add a little bit to the tightness. But this looks pretty good. Declining trendline break, basing right on top of it. Declining volume. You throw everything else out the window. This looks like it could try to go for a run here. And Solana, which is typically our market leader in crypto for the past several cycles, is actually starting to make a little move here. We'll see that very shortly. So yeah, this is a preview of the Power Hour. Public. We're going to look at gold a little bit later, but I literally only have about 20 more minutes, maybe 30. So I'll try to get through this quick. BTC does look pretty good here. Um, been pretty stable considering all the market volatility. So let's hopefully something can come from this. We may get a move up and a rejection, similar to what happened over here last Tuesday. That can always happen, but as of right now, things are looking pretty solid, I think, and we may actually try to make a run of it. The key word there is try, because obviously nothing is guaranteed. Something happens, and people don't feel like buying, then the signal will get rejected by people that wanted to buy before that no longer want to buy. And that's really how the market works. It's a series, of ups and downs of people that want to buy and don't want to buy and want to sell and don't want to sell. So, yeah, that's basically 4 different market directions right there. But BTC doing pretty good. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Walk down our top 20 list here. ETH looking a little bit better, probably just because of low volatility, but not a lot of selling pressure at the moment. ETH hasn't led anything for a while now. Solana much more important. I had a small horizontal here to 134, 135.94. Move it over here so the daily looks better. And this one also consolidating above the trend line. That's pretty good. And yeah, I like Solana moving a little bit here today. Volumes not really up, considering it's a Saturday, but it did pop up. Good volume there. A little bit of rejection candle in the prior 2 hour bar. Nothing, I don't think too bad, but just going to pause our momentum for the day from what it looks like until it doesn't, until we get more buying pressure. But this isn't a Bible situation. My argument here would be stops to be under the low of yesterday. I think that would be probably your best stop right now if someone was looking at purchasing or trying to purchase this rally. It's about 4.5, 4.6, 4.7%. If you want to be tighter than that, you could give it to the underside of this large volume candle. But things could still get volatile. My baseline here is still not to do much of anything. because the market's just all over the place. But these early signatures, you look at Solana. I'm gonna spend a little more time on Solana, a little less time on everything else. I do want to look a little bit at gold later, so stay tuned for that. Solana tends to have these kind of early bases, right? And we can zoom out. Has done this on several different occasions. This is way a long time ago. That's higher, obviously a better run, because look how far it came up nonstop right through the trend line, consolidated here. That was your better entry point if you couldn't get it there, and that was probably hard to stomach for some people. Of course, people really didn't know much about Solana back then. I don't think like it's the monster it is now. But then you go back to this last market cycle, we had a much more defined low series of lows for many months. Then you had this 2056, and then it started going. But no one believed down here either. Okay, and I'm not saying I'm a big believer in this bull market, showing up, but this is one of those signatures outside of the declining trend line. It's similar. It's not the exact same. Nothing really is, but it's similar. So here's another one. So, I mean, here, had an opportunity here. This was really wide and loose. You tighten up over here. You get to the 159. Then it comes back in, test the 159, even undercuts. A little bit similar here. Not identical, but so I'm just trying to say Solana, typical market leader action, looking pretty good. All right, BNB, choppy sideways here. Not doing too bad. Could go on and form a cup. We do have a few more cups on the newsletter today. XRP, sideways through the trend line. Not too bad right there. Waiting for some volatility to come in. Dogecoin, choppy garbage. Cardano, choppy garbage. Cardano, can't have its pops, though, obviously. A lot less since it actually went live, though. Tron, coming back down. That's a shame. That was looking interesting. Of course, Tron's a counter trend trader. Anyway, Shiba Swap, choppy sideways. Ton, choppy sideways. AVAX. I like AVAX looks a little bit better. I like how AVAX looks. It's not my favorite. It didn't make the newsletter today, but I think it's a good honorable mention. It's also percentage-wise up pretty good, 3.57 with 3.54 with Solana, at least at the moment. Not as well-defined a situation. There's no flag. There's really no cup yet. We could be forming the right side of a cup. If you want this, your stop would be under the low from a few days ago. So the swing low from this whole thing, if you want an AVAX. SUI, choppy sideways. Bitcoin Cash, choppy sideways. Link, choppy sideways. Pepe, choppy sideways. In kind of a flag situation. It's not looking that bad. DOT could try to go near protocol, maybe not. Leo back up above the trend line, was failing it yesterday, but fighting down here. It has a series of lower lows right now. Not a big fan of the trend overall. If this pops up, we could move this trend line maybe down and touch this as a second anchor point. Litecoin not able to get off the floor quite yet. Maybe it'll form right side of a cup here on the 2 hour, maybe not. Hard to tell. APT. Looks like it's trying to go up and form the right side of this maybe larger cup. We'll see what it does. It's interesting. It's not great, though. Uniswap, sideways. OM, on the floor. It's my last of the top 20. I really haven't had anything. I really haven't had anything on OM. I need to go back through my top 20. Okay, let's take a look at what I have on the newsletter. I do have a few today, actually. So, all right, Band. All right, let's take a look at Band. So Band with a cup at the later stages of a 0.709. I think this could be an interesting horizontal if you want to try it. So we've had a couple attempts at reversals. This is a little bit more stable given its cup situation. This one pretty random. You got a wick here and a wick down there, right? Nothing really that spectacular. This is just a rising channel. This is a small little cup, so that's pretty interesting. So I think Band, excuse me. I think BAT's actually the next one. Yeah, BAT. Basic attention token, 1335. Pretty decent shaped cup, actually. Good volume here and setting up. So if we're going to go on a mini rally, a few potentials here. And I think when you're looking at market turning points, you're looking for the ones that have the best pattern. Some just pop straight out of nowhere. Obviously, there's not much you can do about that. But, oh, I don't need to switch things. I just need to go here. There's Band, GT, and then Caspa. Trying to use shortcuts when shortcuts aren't working. GT here. GT's been forming this very large consolidation. The volume skewed for some reason. I really don't know why. This is a smaller token on HTX. Most of my coins are on Binance except for a few. Hey, what's up, Phil? Um, but Gate Chain here looking interesting. Looking interesting. Keep that on radars. And then Caspa. Caspa the past couple days has been looking pretty good. It's still consolidating, but in a very tight way. We gave it a shot over here, looking very similar. Here's a second attempt, just under this 082 whatever. Now I have this 07 whatever, 079 whatever, and yeah, maybe we'll have an attempt of volume. This right here, come on, looks nice. This is all suspect, but you get to these turning points, and you got to think to yourself. Um, Yeah, I mean, could it go? I think it could go. The volume signature looks better here with the declining volume. The question is, will it? Now, in these situations, uh, Caspa is a pretty interesting token, but in these situations, you don't buy now, right? You have to buy on the weight of the breakout. You also have to define where your stop is going to be. Sometimes you can do it while it breaks. You're like, okay, my stop's here. Or if you define it earlier, which is, to me a little bit more tricky, defining the stop earlier. Because look at this, if you're gonna buy it, if you want to buy it here, your stop defined here, which is this low, is 8.5%, a little bit wide. I'd like to go tighter if I could, maybe go to the, 5.75%, 5% or whatever. Um, but on the breakout, you can try to go right under the breakout. So sometimes your stop is defined earlier, but you want to know where that stop's going to be. Right now, you don't have the stop because there's no breakout candle. That's how I kind of like to approach these, is hawking them. So, but this Caspa one, I think, is one of the more interesting ones in the market. We've been highlighting this now for the past couple of days as it kind of formed this nice horizontal and has been wedging pretty well. I think that was it for crypto stuff. You guys have any crypto questions? Otherwise, move on to stocks and gold. And I do want to look at a lot of stuff with gold. Um, so, oh, wait for a second there. I didn't even get any water. Rushing so fast to start the stream, I realized I was late. Don't think we're going to see a significant drop in the BTC dominance this bull run. Shitcoiners are going to be very upset. Well, you can still have some garbage coins have some pretty good runs on them if they're played correctly. In terms of BTC dominance, haven't done a lot of BTC dominance work. I do think I've got it down here. Yeah. You know what? Here's the thing with Bitcoin dominance. Um, I do think overall it's just going to continue. I think, now that Ethereum has, I'm not going to say Ethereum's failed completely, but it is not. It's how Microsoft went sideways for 15 years. That's where Ethereum is starting to be at right now. Let me show you a little bit of context. So Ethereum, obviously everyone considers this a big market leader, right? You go to the weekly chart, this thing's, not done very much, at least in terms of crypto, since the run ended here in the latter stages of 21. Um, so now we're this big choppy consolidation. And I do believe Ethereum is the Microsoft of cryptocurrency. Like it sucks, but it's going to be there. We could be in this situation with Ethereum where no one's really going to touch it for a substantial period of time because it got really overinflated early on. Um, but then, it stayed around, so it'll eventually make a second comeback at some point. But I've always viewed Ethereum as Microsoft. Everyone hates it, but the people that like it and use it. It's the most used, similar to Microsoft. No one likes Microsoft. I don't know anyone that's a Microsoft fan, like, oh, Microsoft just does stuff so well. Nobody thinks that. Absolutely nobody thinks that, but they're so entrenched in computers in the same way that Ethereum is so entrenched in blockchain. Um, it's it's really um, I think it's a good parallel. So, from a price action perspective, we could be looking at something like that for Ethereum for a long period of time. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. That's just my theory and my running thesis. Solana is like Google. Ethereum is a little bit like Microsoft, Solana's like Google. Think of it like that if you want to. XRP to flip ETH. You know, in all honesty, I really haven't spent a lot of time thinking about that. I'm not even sure where they're at. 121, 194. XRP is as bad as ETH. It's just, I got to go in 10 minutes, by the way. I think XRP is just as bad as ETH. You look at the XRP rallies, it rallies on news. Um, I mean, I guess if it actually becomes a workable, livable protocol that is used more widely, possibly. They may battle. I mean they're already battling. 121, 195 is not too far off. I guess it's 50%. So I don't know. But XRP is one of those tokens that just freaking drives you crazy, except for the twice it's ran, two or three times it's run. Like you want to be involved early on, you want to be involved. There was a run over, yeah, early on, maybe here and then here, and that's it. The rest of the time, you're just holding, hoping for, your casino jackpot pull. And yeah, you got fortunate here with a nice run, but I don't know. It's one of those situations. It still has that huge backlog of XRP that it sells on a monthly basis. So I don't know. And it's not even that much, to be honest with you. I think there's bigger fish to fry, um, money wise. I think let's talk about gold. I do want to talk about gold. I think gold is on a big bull run. Um, but I think XRP is going to be whatever it's going to be. So let's look at the GLD. GLD. So these are my lines on gold. I have the weekly up. So these are my lines on gold. We're in a little bit of a parabolic run. I don't know how parabolic it's going to get, especially versus the U.S. dollar. Considering, I had a thought about this last night. Is the USD? We have two ways we can go in the U.S. whenever we finally hit our financial ceiling, and no one really does know when that is. But Ray Dalio thinks we have 3 years. Ray Dalio thinks we got to hit 3% GDP to budget, something like that, right? He thinks we need to hit that. I'm not confident that Trump's smart enough to do that. Um, so eventually we'll go into austerity measures or hyperinflation. Hyperinflation means gold's going to freaking rocket ship up. I don't know exactly when that's going to be. Austerity, I'm not sure what gold's going to do. I have to do some research on that. But look at this move in gold. Absolutely phenomenal. Average volume actually starting to increase a little bit, which it usually doesn't do. Increased here a little bit. Increased here on this very large run. There's a parabolic run for you too, a mini one. And so we could do something like that. So that's coming out of this big cup, 126 up to 195. It's a pretty substantial run, and we're kind of already in the peaks of this next substantial run. Will it end here or continue up? We'll really only know on Monday. But I think, I mean, gold is. Let's go back to the daily. You look at this chart, and it's just none of it looks like we're over yet. We just had this sell off here, right, with the market sell, bought back up immediately, huge gaps, 2-3% gaps across the markets. Friday closed at the top part of the range. It looks like we definitely could continue in this rally. We get another good 2-3-5%. Gold is going to be really in an amazing place. I do think 400 could be on the table just from a technical perspective, but gold trades in a strange ways I'm really not that familiar with. So I do have a position in gold, but it's not small, but it's not big. It's not even a normal position size, is it? Yeah, maybe it's one position size. But I think if gold goes more vertical, um, it's going to be tough because when it comes to inflation, when it comes to printing money, I don't know if this is running because of tariffs. I don't know the tariff gold situation. I think that's something I should probably try to learn. So I don't know. We'll see how it all goes, y'all. Oh shoot. Oh, I never secured the tickets. Fuck. All right, guys. I gotta go, guys. I just realized I was trying to buy movie tickets. I got thrown into being a. I gotta go. Damn it. Sorry, guys. I gotta run. This Saturday morning's just garbage for me. I gotta go. But yeah, so that's my thing. I think I think gold is going to go on a spurt up. We could consolidate for a couple of weeks, then try to go up again. But yeah, I'll maybe next Saturday, Phil. Yeah, sorry guys. It's just a garbage day. All right, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.